headphones in because I want this sound to be kind of clear. Y'all, so I know most of y'all are going to see this on the playback way back. And it's been a while since I have done a live because life has been lifing. Um, so I just wrapped watching episodes 1 and kind of got into 2, but kind of drifted off into I don't know what the hell I was doing. But if you have not started watching it, y'all need to watch it. Y'all need to start watching the 50 Cent, and I forgot what his co-executive producer's name is, but they produced a documentary on Sean Combs' The Reckoning. And I'm sitting here and I really, 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 if I could, I would just love to just sock him and make his eyes a little wider apart because I'm like, you are evil. If, and I'm going to say this, only if all of the things that have been said and shared are true. Now, there are certain parties that are not here to speak for themselves. It seems like Craig Mack's wife, I didn't catch who she was, but it seems like Craig Mack's, I'm kicking new flavor in your ear, who is no longer with us, passed away a few years ago. I think he passed right before the pandemic. First of all, if in fact true what his best friend said from childhood about his mother, that's sad. We are lucky that if it is in fact true, everything that has been alleged in this documentary about Diddy is true, then we're lucky he is not a serial killer. Although technically he probably is, but he didn't get 3 bodies. You have to have 3 or more to be considered a serial killer. And there may actually be more. Oh, no, actually, there are. Because they suspect that somewhere Diddy murdered one of, or had, who was it? One of Suge's friends offed right in front of his face. And then Suge ended up choking him, which I'm like, you might as well should, okay, let me stop. But I guess that night he had plotted on killing Suge or having Suge murdered. Hi, Cal. Who else? We suspect that he had something to do with everyone that was affiliated with Uptown Records. Now, mind you, they said that Andre Harrell died from natural causes, heart disease. They say that, well, honey, I'm glad. In Jesus' name, I love you too. Amen. Uh, Pretty much anyone that had anything to do with Uptown Records, they believe that Diddy mysteriously had something to do with that. That's been a theory for a while because you see all these bodies. The only ones that remain out of that is Mary J. Blige, because of course she never signed with Bad Boy. And who else? I'll be sure, which we theorize he tried to unalive him because I'll be sure is the one who brought up the fact that he believed that he had something to do with uh, that he had something to do with Kim Porter's passing because Kim was a very healthy woman. All of a sudden, she mysteriously got sick. What was that? Back in 2019, I think it was, and died. But Tupac and Biggie, those two really bother me because now I see him for what it is. Yeah, I don't know who Nick Fuentes is, whatever. But honey, coming over here to talk about something I don't know what you're talking about, that's just not gonna fly with me. We trying to talk about somebody that might be a real life serial killer. The problem is with Diddy, we can't pinpoint everything, but Tupac told us everything we needed to know in Machiavelli. We knew that he was not uh we knew that he was not we just I remember, let's just say this, when I was in college, and I've said this before about uh I don't know what that's about either. When I was in college back in the 90s, when Bad Boy was really Bad Boy, my goal was to move to New York and go work for Diddy. I mean, I had a degree in sports administration I was working on. I mean, it can translate over to entertainment, right? I'm so glad that never happened. I am so glad because there is no telling what kind of nightmare stories I'd probably be telling right now. But I remember in Machiavelli, Tupac said it. And Against All Odds, that's one of my favorite songs. Whenever I am in a mood and I'm stressed or I want to go work out, I run. That's one of the first songs I hit. You know, he basically said Puffy getting robbed like a bitch to hide that fact he did some shit he shouldn't have did, so he robbed for that. And I'm just like, he been and told you that. And then I remember he said something about in that song also he talks about, remember something you said, or you see me with gloves. And I'm just like, oh shit. So and then you got Suge Knight, and my friend brought up a great point about Suge Knight. Okay, first of all, I just want to share y'all with my toxic trait. I know that Suge Knight is not a good person, but he never pretended to be anything other than what he was. Okay, but for some reason, my dumb ass has always stood up here and been like, you know what? Suge is sexy and fine, but then again, also I have always been attracted to big black dudes. I like the linebacker type. Maybe that's because I don't know. Maybe it's because my daddy played football. He was a linebacker. Hell, I don't know. Shit, that's all I know is that 9 times out of 10, my preference, but not what I end up with. My preference would be end up with somebody that looked like Suge, but definitely not somebody that would do the shit that Suge did to women. Okay. Number two, one of the things I also picked up on it, especially in the first episode, if Janice Combs raised her son in the manner in which she did, I have a feeling that she saw that her son was showing signs of being gay. And she tried to beat the gay away. His best friend that grew up with him basically pointed out, and he got emotional talking about these beatings. Now, Janice did not want to comment about the things that went on in her household. Like he said, his mom wanted a prince, not a princess. Okay, cool. So I'm just like, I get no, and I had to explain this to my littlest brother because I was telling him, the reason why his mother gave such a visceral reaction when she realized that her son was gay is that you got two things to worry. You got one thing to worry about when you bring a black son into this world. You got to worry about the world always hating him and wanting to come for him. But then you got to double down and you got to think about it. You're gay. That's another strike against you in a world where people do not want, in a world where some people do not want to accept you for who you are. Okay. Now, granted, time has gone on. She's accepted. Everyone's accepted. Okay. But initially, I truly believe that sometimes a black mother's visceral reaction, maybe even fathers too, visceral reaction to the way they treat their sons that they know potentially are gay, is out of fear, not because they love their child and they want their child to survive in this cold world. Okay. But I can't help but to think that that's what Janice was up to. And in fact, she ended up creating a monster who hates women. As a matter of fact, someone said that after that whole City College incident where people died because while Diddy did an excellent job promoting it, the venue was just not the size of what he promoted. And people ended up losing their lives and getting smashed and everything else and died. Y'all remember that, right? That was like in what, 92, 93. I don't even remember, but it was Heavy D and it was him. That promoted this and it was going to be great until people started getting crushed and they decided to bum rush the door, as Diddy pointed out, and people died. And yeah, and you're right. It could have all been avoided, but it wasn't. And so one of the things I find very interesting, this is I know this dude was slick and smart. So when he founded Bad Boy, he gave his mom 75% interest and gave another dude 25% interest. What does that leave him with? Nothing. So he probably was just, if y'all ever watch Casino and you remember how dude couldn't get a license in the casino, but he would create all these different jobs for himself to do just so he could still be in the place. That's what Diddy essentially did and basically put himself on as an employer. Okay. So he did that to insulate himself from being sued by the City College people. I guess he pretty much just held on. I'll have to look at the numbers or the years because there is only so long that you can bring a wrongful death case. Okay. I'm surprised there was no criminal prosecution, but there's a whole lot of red tape to get through because you could also blame the college, blame him. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. And that's what I tell people. Even if you sign a contract of some sort with that boilerplate language saying, we're held harmless and we're not liable, there's always a loophole. You can be sued. But I guess he wanted to wait till the statutes of limitations ran out. And then eventually he went to dude and was like, yo, I want my 25% and I'm going to give it back to you. I don't think he ever gave it back. What else is it about Diddy? But I think that that's why he treats women the way he does. He really hates women. And women were nothing to him. And I always find it interesting how he would take these women and how he was able to lure them, because Lord knows, how you gonna go from I'll be sure I can tell you how I feel about you night and day to you know it's like, oh, okay, you and then y'all, okay, at the beginning of the video y'all need to watch. He was on the phone with his legal team. That's why I said I could have never been his attorney. I probably would have taken a retainer and spent it down, but I probably would have went to court and been like, I need to be removed as his attorney of record. And actually, even before the case started, the attorneys could have gotten out of that deal. He's a horrible client because he thinks he knows everything. First of all, sir, did you spend 3 to 4 to 5 years in law school studying anything? Have you practiced anything? You might know a little something about circumventing the law, but you don't know criminal like that. So, but the way, all the years I have known of Sean, Puffy, Puff Daddy, Diddy Combs, I have never heard that man stutter as he stuttered. Y'all, y'all, y'all need to get on. I'm like, so you scared, okay? You know your reckoning is coming. So, who decides to get a film crew also to film themselves prior to knowing that they're possibly going to be indicted on sex crimes, as not as well as racketeering? Like, who does that? Only a narcissist would do that. However, we do predict that the reason why Diddy did that is because he thought that he was going to get off and that this would be a great part of a victory documentary. Instead, his arch nemesis, 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, him and his friends got hold of the footage and was able to lock it into this current documentary, which is a blend of other documentaries and individuals that we've already seen. So But I started crying during the documentary just a little bit. I love music and I love and appreciate real artists. And real art 50 saved the day. Yeah. Oh, probably worse than Angry Wig. Ooh. I think about Tupac. I think about Biggie and what life would be like if they were still here, like on the artistic plane. It would be awesome and amazing. But you know what? The green-eyed monster and that beady-eyed fool known as Sean Combs. Nobody happy if he ain't happy. You have to only give attention to me. He is worse than that little kid in kindergarten whose parents have raised him spoiled and has to learn the hard way that, hey, you got to learn how to share, okay? So you can tell from the video footage that you saw, or even in the time when we were around, when we were all around, at least in my age group, Biggie and Pac were besties. They were bros. And Sean didn't like it. So he started this division thing. Pac even said it. He said, it never dawned on me when I had these people asking me, hey, are you coming to the studio? You coming to the studio? And you know what? That same shit happened to me back in the day when I was in junior high. For some reason, even though we were at a school where there were a bunch of nerds, the Science Academy, y'all, same shit happened to me. I was in the lunchroom, and for some reason, uh, I don't know which one I look like. I don't know if that's a compliment, because, honey, I didn't watch Orange is the New Black. I don't know. Uh, okay, Wally said he would F P. Diddy. I don't know if I should let this go, but okay. So either way, y'all, please don't come on here and be crass, because, I mean, but you know what? Diddy would like it, you know, especially if you're a male. But I had them do this. Are you coming outside? Are you coming outside? And I didn't come outside. It was at lunchtime. For some reason, I've always been a great student, but I didn't finish a project or something. And, oh, I thank you. I didn't finish the project or something, and I ended up staying in the lunchroom through lunch, and then come to find out somebody was getting ready to beat me up for something that happened a year ago. And it wasn't even me being mean. This chick's name was Orlean. I asked, and this was not me being jokingly, I said, uh, I said, um, what did I say? I said, your name is Orlean, is in New Orleans. That was it. And she was offended. And certain people just didn't like me in junior high because I was a nerd. I didn't speak a certain way. Because, I mean, even though I grew up in Texas, I went to predominantly white schools. So I talk like a valley white girl in Texas. But that's what Diddy did. He was jealous of Pac, and he set them up and pitted them against them. And basically, Pac died, and so did Biggie. Collateral damage in someone's jealousy. Do I think Suge had anything to do with Biggie's death? No. I think Puffy did, because from what I understand, Biggie was getting ready to leave Bad Boy. And let's be real, Biggie was one of the biggest cash cows for Bad Boy. What also struck me as odd, and I'll tell any young person, and if any artists come across my page, if you getting ready to sign with somebody, by all means, I will gladly review your contract, because I hate hearing about people that get locked into these contracts. Like, y'all, Alex, I can't afford an attorney. That's fine, baby. I'm not licensed, but I did study entertainment law, and I can only give you my personal opinion on it. But I will gladly help you. And I also have one of my really, really good friends that did open up a practice in entertainment law, and she packages everything so well, she can totally help you too. Okay? Don't ever sign anything without understanding what it is that you're signing. And then unfortunately, Diddy was able to get away with that in Bad Boy. Puffy was holding these whole BS contracts. Yeah, I mean, like, In the documentary they talk about how Puffy would be paying himself, for performing in videos and stuff with his artist. And then you get mad at Suge because Suge was speaking the truth. If you want to be where the executive producer is not jumping in videos trying to rap. I mean, and then like I think it was Mark Curry who was signed to Bad Boy used to be like he wouldn't co-sign the BS. Like he's not a yes man. Yo man, that track was trash. Them bars were trash. I mean, and that's the problem. I cannot stand people who feed egos. It's just terrible. Wally said, I knew that before all that crap came out. Talk about what you think about Jada kissing Lex. I haven't gotten that far, Cheryl. I have not gotten that far. I'm only on episode 2. Uh, I'm going to save part 3 and 4 for tomorrow. Um, but I am so angry. And I just wish I could go back to 1996 before MGM, before Vegas, before Tyson, and just tell Pac, please don't go to Vegas. But Diddy put out these contracts, and like one guy was saying, like, how do you have a whole group of people, you rent cars, a fleet of cars to drive to Vegas? That's suspicious. He was planning on, if he could have gotten away with it, I really think the goal was to take out both Suge Knight and Pac. He just couldn't get Suge, my low-key toxic boo. God bless me. He looks so bad now. He's 60 years old, wasting away in that jail. Just should have controlled his anger, Suge. Yeah, by the way, if y'all are just joining, I just shared that my toxic trait is that I've always had an affection for Suge Knight. And I know he's a terrible person. Because Lord knows, if he had put his hands on me, I don't know what would have happened to him. Because, baby, I'm 5'11", you 6'3". I'm trained to do some things with my hands. One of us just wasn't going to make it. Okay, that's just about, we just weren't going to make it. Puff was running that part of the industry, and he was running it the same way all the shady people in the industry were doing. Oh, and I love how Clive Davis just act like he don't know who the hell Diddy is. Um, Remember when his ass ran that motherfucker over full? That was why. I know, and that's why I'm like, he wouldn't be in prison today if he had just controlled his anger. I'm just like, dang, Suge. And now his whole empire has crumbled. But many people are wondering. I did see clips like in the news feed, I think when it was featured on Good Morning America, where some of the jurors just didn't get it. I think that people don't realize that jurors are humans. And unfortunately, some of them are incapable of separating starstruck from the reality. Like, if you think about it, even if you're not a celebrity, because this came up recently, somebody was talking about how, especially with ministers, especially in the black community, as soon as some shit come up, not my pastor would never. Okay, girl. He was caught red-handed, and you don't believe it. And it's the same thing with Diddy. And I think some of the jurors got caught up. But I also blame the U.S. Attorney's Office for this sham of a prosecution. When you have racketeering, how you gonna racketeer by yourself? Where were the other defendants, the co-defendants? Even if you had to try them separately, it should have been understood and known that others would be prosecuted as part of this wheel, and Sean Combs is the spoke, okay, just like in the bike, okay? Do I think Suge killed Tupac? No, I think that Diddy did. I really do. I think that he sent someone. I think they were actually intending to kill Suge, but Suge got 9 lives. Pac only got 2. It's unfortunate. These men should be here today. Pac should still be here. Biggie should still be here. And they said that he profited off of Biggie's funeral. I'm just like, oh my God. I haven't even gotten to that part, but one of my friends posted about it. They also talked about the inappropriateness in the workplace that Diddy did, how he would send inappropriate emails, how he would have employees come in and call them in just so they could watch him get head under his desk. I'm just like, EEOC, okay, sexual harassment, okay, somebody call the popo, I am offended. But everybody was scared of him. And I'm like, if you should have been scared of anybody, you should have been freaking just scared of somebody like Suge Knight. That's who you should be scared of, okay? Diddy was not, without people actually bowing down and worshiping him, Diddy ain't nothing but a little ugly little man, funny looking man that money just helped make him look a little bit better. If they weren't here, they might have ruined their careers though. They died legends. I don't think so. I think that one of the things people don't realize about Tupac did what he had to do to get out of prison at the time, right? He didn't have the money for that bail. I mean, he was still up and coming. And, as far as financially. Uh, I wish I was Diddy should be the name of the book. Oh Lord Jesus. Wally. Um, but Diddy just he's an evil individual. And at the end of the day, the root cause, as I say, from a psychological standpoint, stems from his childhood. He also lived in fantasy land. His father worked for, what was it, Frank Lucas? Um, and he seems to think that his father was this big time gangster, hustler, whatever. So he feels like he has to embody the spirit. But one thing I don't think your father ever would endorse was you putting your hands on your mama, regardless of what your mama did to you, hitting her and calling her a bitch. That's disrespectful. As a person, Tupac will always be held a great. Imagine old ass who releases shit with Taylor Swift. I doubt he would do that. Maybe Beyonce, but not Taylor Swift. I miss Pac. He was one of my favorites. I actually dated a guy that sounds just like Tupac. It was great talking to him all the time because I was like, I feel like I'm going to sleep to Tupac. Oh, I miss him. But I still, Machiavelli is a great album. I listen to that at least once a week. My favorite too, laughing with Diddy learned what he saw. Diddy learned what he thought he saw from black exploitations. Okay. But Andre Harrell and him, I think, were in a relationship. This is a theory, not a fact. I am alleging. Please, 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 no. But you could say, oh, he moved into my house. Oh, is that right? I can't go home to my mama. Is that right? Somebody said, I sound like Tupac. Would you sleep with me? And you kind of have to look like him too, because my ex actually kind of looks like him too. So he was like the Tupac of Nigeria. Um, Gotta go. Thanks for talking, girl. Have fun. Thank you. Thank you for joining the conversation. I'll probably be back on tomorrow because I'm gonna try to finish the last two episodes. So he said, damn, I'm white. Okay, Wally. Um, See, if Wally, do you look like Tommy? Do you look like what's his real name? I can never remember. I just call him Tommy E from the Power Universe. Then maybe we could talk. But like a Tupac White. Okay, you like a Tupac White. Okay. So anyways, I just wanted to hop on here quickly. Actually, it wasn't quick. It ended up being a 30-minute session. But I thank you guys who did join the conversation. Let's keep it going. Uh, Andre was going with Cynthia Bailey at the time. Puffy was going with Kim and Misa at the time. Two things can be true, if you know what I mean. Uh, but yeah, somebody said they were like, basically that was talking about I'm his protege. No, you his boy in more ways than one. God rest Andre Harrell's soul. He did something really great with Uptown Records. I'm just glad that Jodeci and Mary J. Blige did not leave Uptown to go follow um Puff at Bad Boy. What he did at Bad Boy was amazing, but he ruined lives. He did. The sexism, the misogyny, the disrespect, the abuse of power. I mean, you name it. And I just don't understand why more people didn't sue his ass sooner. But I get it. They were scared. Cheryl says, I know the 411. I know all the 411. Okay. Tupac, one of my favorites from him was Might Be Dear Mama, How Do You Want It? And Hit 'Em Up. Hit him up. It's like kicking the door, it's like, I fucked your bitch. It's like, damn, Tupac, just clear the whole room, okay? Um, no, I'm trying to think because I listen to Tupac so much that it's one of those things where I have to hear it to get it. But I do love Me Against the World. That is another one of my favorite albums. Uh, I love when he was with Digital Underground. I think that him and Shock G and the rest of the crew did a great job. Um, there just won't ever be another. I just don't think that Tupac will always be my number one favorite rap artist, and Prince will always be my favorite favorite artist of all time. May they both rest in peace. Um, but it's just so hard. The first two albums were okay because remember he came with "Holla If You Hear Me," uh, uh, okay, and then I love the song that he does about. But if you need anything at all, I drop it all for y'all. If my home is called, I love that song. And then he came out with oh shit, what did he drop? Like 6 or 7 studio albums. Not to mention what was the name? Thug Life, the group Thug Life. That album by far is no skips, no skips. Just under pressure when the pressure's on, it's a hit. Ski mask, extra, bring the glip, something like that. Don't nobody move when we walk the streets. We stay silent because talk is cheap. Uh, sure, Tupac came to see me on 125th and Sylvia's 3 times. Wow. I wish I had met Tupac, but I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma in school. Ice Cube is one of my favorites too. He was mine too at one point. Ice Cube fell off the past few years. I don't know. I think once these people ascend to a certain income bracket, they just forget where they came from and who they are. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ice Cube's family was well to do, as in they were like a middle class black family in Compton. But I think that he has forgotten some things, just like Pharrell has forgotten some things. It's almost like a Hall and Oates song. I'm out of touch. I'm going out my head when money's around. I just made that up. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about these people that forget that. But my favorites are probably not the conventional favorites. Like I love Tupac, Jay-Z, Ti. Um, who else do I listen to? Snoop Dogg. Even though Snoop Dogg sold his soul to the highest bidder, I can't lie. The weird thing about me and Snoop's music is that whenever I listen to it, like if I need to study or focus, I don't even know where the rest of the day went. It helps with the ADHD. I don't know if it's because he high all the time and the beat is on the weed. I don't know, but it helps. I'm trying to think who else do I listen to when it comes to rap. There's so many, and then some of the younger artists that came out in this century, I should say. I do love J. Cole and I do love Kendrick Lamar. Okay. Um, and then as far as females, I'm sorry, hands down, there will never be another Lil Kim and Foxy Brown. Okay, Let's just be real about that. Don't get me wrong, my babe, Meg the Stallion. I love her. Yes, thank you, Cheryl, for filling in the number 5 slot. DMX. Grr. What you bitches want from me? Have y'all ever really listened to what you really want? Cause I just really started listening to it like the past year, and I caught some stuff. I said, "See, I really was into the beat just a little bit too much." He said, basically in the lyric, he said, once women get too close to him, he starts stealing, and then he's out like a thief in the night. I said, "God damn, you can't just text the lady and say, look, it's over, or send her a beep, dial a beeper number and tell her it's over." DMX, damn, that was messed up. He's stealing out the women's house. So yeah, DMX, that would be it. That would be it for me. There's so many more, but I there. God, I miss Heavy D. I almost cried the other night. I was watching something. This was before, and I was like, "Oh my God, Heavy D! I miss him. He was the boy lover." And other rappers that aren't as big, but back in the day meant a lot to me was people like Kwame. Y'all remember Kwame? The rhythm. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. And he had like the polka dots. He just dropped a new album too. I need to finish listening to it. Um, but there's so many. I went back recently. I really dug in the crates. I was listening to like old school LL Cool J, Cool Mo D, Big Daddy Kane. And you know, but Lil Kim, Foxy Brown, and now we have Megan the Stallion. I mean, she's a great artist. I love Glorilla. I love Cardi B. You like Method Man? I love Method Man. When Wu Tang dropped, okay, I'm looking for Who's the Cuties, okay? I immediately knew that despite his rough exterior, that Mr. Meth, Mr. Clifford was fine as hell, okay? And he's still fine to this day, okay? Who else is out here? It's so many. And I wanted to do a video discussion about that too one of these days where we talk about, we're going to dig into crates and we're going to talk about, like lyrics, like um, Queen Latifah, Moni in the Middle, help me, MC Light. They all told stories. Nowadays, I love Meg, but I'm like, can we get something else, girl? But I can't remember who sing. Who's that? Circles? Like you got me going in circles? Or an actual rap song, Circles? You know, Eric Sermon was on there, and I just could not believe that Diddy messed with Eric Sermon. I'm like, of all the I personally don't recall ever hearing anything negative about EPMD in general, and I'm just like, who messes with them? Or who messes with Eric Sermon? Okay, just like music. Ooh, doo, doo, doo. They added that. Yeah, so I don't understand it. Like, who does that? And there's just so many. I mean, circles, round and round the way you going. The way you doing me so wrong, but I keep holding you down. It's like an R&B song by a woman. We'll have to Google it or ask Alexa. Alexa, who sings the song Circles? Post Malone sings the song Circles. Alexa, are there any other artists that have lyrics that go circles, circles, round and round, the way you doing me so wrong, but I keep holding you down? The lyrics you're referring to are from Jasmine Sullivan's song "Holding You Down, Going in Circles." So that's Jasmine. R&B track that addresses the frustration of staying in a toxic relationship. Y'all get that? Yeah. Oh, and I changed all of my Alexas to male voices now. The one in the kitchen, he is off the chain. He is like a brother, okay? I asked him to add Grand Marnier to the shopping list, y'all. Why he started suggesting recipes? So y'all got it? That was Jasmine Sullivan that Sausage McGriddle is referring to. And then Method Man, I like his song Forever and Got to Have It. I don't know. I don't remember everything. It's so many. And back in the day, Pharrell was doing the damn thing with Star Trek. It's too sad they didn't make it. They fell out. I don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna get off of here because it's almost midnight and I have to be up by like 5:45 because y'all know Diva trying to lose weight and me and my Cane Corso, Miss Lady Ava Marie, we get up every morning and go walking in our neighborhood. I haven't lost any weight, but I feel like my thighs are decreasing in size. Praise God, because I'm tired of not being able to get into my clothes that were considered big. It's my big clothes in case I ever gained weight. This is ridiculous. And I ain't getting no Ozempic because some of y'all walking around here with them long faces. I don't want the Ozempic, let me not even say Ozempic. Let's just say the GLP-1 phase. I'm like, at what point do some people actually get off of that at some point? I understand it's saving your life, but I'm like, at some point, that stuff don't even look healthy. Thank you, Cheryl, so much for subscribing. Um, I'm still working on consistency. And since you're probably new here, I have ADHD, so sometimes I'm never consistent. So welcome to my world. But I definitely want to hop on here and talk about this. I know I've missed a ton of other stuff. We can talk about that because, I mean, politics, Todd and Candy. What else did I talk about? Funky Dineva crashing out last night. I watched that live and I was like, I believe him. Um, but we'll talk about all of that later. But tomorrow night, I will likely be back on. So be ready. We're going to discuss parts 3 and 4 of this Curtis Jackson crash out. Wait a minute. One more thing. Did y'all catch when Robin Roberts were interviewing him and she asked him, what do you think Sean Combs would say about this? And 50 Cent is I don't care for him now because he also sold his soul to the highest bidder, as in MAGA. But I can't help but appreciate his level of trollness. Okay, but when she asked him that, he goes, hey, I think he'll like it. I think he'll enjoy it. I was like, damn well that man ain't gonna enjoy it. He's so messy. I can't help it. Even though I can't, same thing with Snoop. I can't hate him, but there are certain choices and there are consequences you have to pay. I can't follow you anymore because you're not, have your opinions on whatever, but I'm sorry. Any group that sets out to destroy others that do not quote unquote look like them, and you got others in the camp that want to set up there and act like they not like this and they want to be like this, but you not. Cash Patel is one of them. Him and Diddy could probably pass as twins. Look at them eyes, shooting from around the corner. Anyway, let me go. Good night, y'all. I've been Miss Sophia the Diva. And what does Miss Sophia the Diva always tell y'all? Unlike Puffy, don't get caught in a trick bag. Good night.